Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the mind of Navy SEAL Commander Jocko Willink. And look, his leadership philosophy, it wasn't cooked up in some comfy office. Nope, it was forged in fire, on the battlefield. And we're going to break down how those intense experiences created a framework that, believe it or not, you can actually use in your own life.
And this quote right here, it's everything. It's the key to his whole worldview. See, Jocko believes that war doesn't invent new truths. It just cranks up the volume on the ones that are already there. It reveals universal truths about leadership, discipline, you name it, with, just blinding clarity. So to really get what he's talking about, we've got to understand the man himself and where that mindset comes from. All right, so let's talk about that mindset. For Jocko, getting to the battlefield and leading, that wasn't just a job he fell into. He actually called it his lifelong dream. Think about that for a second. He saw his entire life as just one long training session for this ultimate test. That gives you a kind of laser focus that, let's be honest, most of us can't even imagine. He wasn't running from this, he was running towards it. And boy, was that focus put to the test. His time in Iraq was, it was like two completely different wars. The difference between his first deployment and his second is just night and day. And it's in that contrast, that shift, where his biggest leadership lessons were really hammered into shape. He saw the difference between, having the upper hand and literally fighting for your life. So check this out. Baghdad in 2003, he called it a rock star deployment. The U.S. had this huge advantage. They were running these simple grab-and-go missions, and casualties were low. It was almost easy. But then you fast forward to 2006 in Ramadi. Whoa, he called it the worst place on earth. We're talking constant, brutal fighting against an enemy that was smart, organized, and totally dominant.
So how bad was Ramadi really? Well, it was basically seen as a lost cause. U.S. forces had pulled back so far, they were just hiding in their big fortified bases. They'd pretty much just surrendered the city to the enemy. The situation wasn't just dire, it was desperate. No other way to put it. And if you want a picture of what that danger looked like, get this. A Marine unit found 13 IEDs, 13 bombs on a single 500-meter stretch of road. I mean, that's like 5 football fields long with a bomb waiting for you every few steps. It was just an unbelievably deadly place to be. So what do? Well, they came up with this totally radical, super gritty new strategy. The plan was no more retreating. Instead, American and Iraqi forces were going to push into enemy territory, seize their buildings, and then just live there. That's right. They'd hold their ground, build these little fortified outposts, and basically take the city back one single block at a time. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds risky, but it was way more than that. People thought it was insane. I mean, other military leaders looked at this plan and basically said, this is a crazy strategy. You guys are all going to die. By living right in the middle of enemy turf, they were making themselves a target 24/7. It looked like a total suicide mission. But here's the real twist in the story. For Jocko, the biggest, toughest challenge wasn't even the enemy shooting at him. Nope, it was a hugely controversial order he had to give his own team. This was the ultimate test of leadership, where getting your guys to buy in was literally a matter of life and death. So here's the question. How do you lead your elite, top-tier team on a mission that they think is not just crazy, but needlessly dangerous? See, his Navy SEALs were ordered to fight side by side with local Iraqi soldiers. And these guys, they were often poorly trained, not very motivated, and honestly, you couldn't always be sure whose side they were really on. His team's reaction was immediate and, let's just say, not subtle. They said, "This is crap." And this is how he handled it. This is the whole ball game right here. First, Jocko had to really understand the why for himself, the big picture. And he realized, wait a minute, if we don't teach the Iraqis how to secure their own country, we're going to be here forever. Simple as that. So then, he explained that to his team. And suddenly, the mission wasn't just some dumb order anymore. It had a purpose. And once they understood that purpose, they were all in. And, the lessons learned in that brutal fight, they didn't just stay in Ramadi. They became the very foundation of the philosophy that Jocko now applies to, pretty much everything, from running a business to just improving your own life. So what about that crazy strategy? Did it work? Oh, you better believe it worked. It was a miraculous turnaround.
Daily enemy attacks plummeted from like 40 or 50 a day all the way down to just one. Within a few months, a city that was a total war zone was transformed. You had markets reopening, kids playing soccer in the streets where bombs used to be. Incredible.
And all this experience, it all boils down to his core philosophy. It's a simple little equation, but it was pressure tested in the most extreme environment you can imagine. And it's this: discipline equals freedom. Now, I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, right? Most of us think discipline, well, it's about restriction. It's about what you can't do. But Jocko argues it's the complete opposite. Think about it. The discipline to wake up early doesn't cost you time. It gives you more time. The discipline to manage your money doesn't limit you. It gives you options. It gives you freedom. The discipline to train gives you the physical freedom to do what you want. So in the end, discipline isn't the cage. It's the key to the cage. It's the path to liberation.
So the biggest lesson from the battlefields of Iraq is really this: if you want to lead other people, it all starts with leading yourself. Which kind of leaves us with a final question for you, doesn't it? What's the one discipline you could start today to get a little more freedom in your life tomorrow? Thanks for watching The Explainer.